Enoch Burkes' application to get an injunction, application to the High Court to get an injunction to prevent the disciplinary process going ahead against him by his school, was finalised today in the High Court. Yesterday, Mr. Justice Conor Dignam determined that he had established a strong case, Mr. Burke had established a strong case for the injunctions restraining the disciplinary hearing. And he found that, or determined that, on two counts. One, that the investigation and as part of the disciplinary process that was carried out by the previous principal, I think, was flawed, because findings of fact were arrived at, etc., without Mr. Burke being involved or having the opportunity to respond to the allegations. And secondly, because of the discussion of that report at a Board of Management meeting at which Mr. Burke wasn't allowed to attend. So on those two grounds, the judge determined that he had made out a strong case for the injunction that he sought. However, the judge was concerned about him coming to court with clean hands or unclean hands, and the equitable maxim of he who comes looking for an equitable relief in court must come with clean hands, and he who seeks equity must do equity. They are principles or maxims of equity, and an injunction is an equitable remedy. Therefore, the judge on balance decided that because Mr. Burke had continued to breach the court orders that were made last September prohibiting him from attending the school, that on balance the judge would not grant his injunction. However, he put back his decision from yesterday, Tuesday, to today, Wednesday, in order to give Mr. Burke the opportunity to confirm to the court that he would stay away from the school and abide by the orders that were previously made. Mr. Burke refused to give that undertaking or that promise and said he would not stay away because his view was that the orders that were made last August and September were fundamentally wrong, unconstitutional and flawed. And for that reason, he couldn't stay away, he couldn't give an undertaking to court or a promise to court to stay away. For that reason, then, Mr. Justice Dignam went ahead and made the formal decision to reject his application for an injunction. So his injunction application to halt the disciplinary process has failed, and the disciplinary hearing is free to go ahead, and it's scheduled for tomorrow. That's the latest in the Enoch Burke case. There's another hearing next week then to do with the application by the school for sequestration of his assets. I think that's next week, or else there's a decision next week, or else there's a hearing next week. That's the sequestration of assets. But this particular application was Mr. Burke's application to halt the disciplinary, and it's been formally rejected now by the High Court because Mr. Burke has refused the judge's offer to restrain the school's disciplinary on condition that he complies with the previous orders of the High Court. And yesterday the judge made the point that you simply cannot pick and choose which orders of the High Court you are going to abide by and which ones you're going to ignore. And clearly Mr. Burke had indicated that he was going to ignore the previous orders made. These are the orders, remember, that saw him incarcerated in Mountjoy jail from, I think, last September. These are the orders, though, that gave rise to Mr. Justice Conor Dignam deciding to refuse formally the question of, or the injunction application that Mr. Burke had made.